Welcome to Build Strong Habits podcast channel. This is an audio podcast, so take your eyes off the screen, sit back, relax, and listen.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today into something pretty cool, I think, and that's competition.
Oh, yeah.
But not the usual kind you might be thinking of.
Right.
Not about battling it out with other people, but like imagine competing with yourself.
Yeah, that's the twist, isn't it?
Using that drive to grow personally.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, think of it this way. Instead of constantly comparing yourself to others, which, let's be honest, often just leads to feeling envious or
Yep.
like, you're not good enough.
Oh, tell me about it.
We turn that focus inward.
Makes sense.
We become our own benchmark, so to speak.
Oh my gosh, I so get that. I remember once I was at this conference and there was this woman giving a presentation and she was just amazing. I mean, everyone was buzzing about it afterwards.
Oh, wow.
And I totally spiraled. I started second guessing everything I do, thinking like I could never be that good.
Yeah.
It took me a while to snap out of it and realize like her journey is hers and mine is mine.
It's so easy to fall into that trap. Comparing yourself to others, it's like trying to run a race where the finish line keeps moving.
Totally. You just end up exhausted.
Exactly. Unproductive, too. But when you shift that focus inwards, like we're talking about, and compete with yourself, you gain control.
Right.
You set your own pace. You celebrate your own milestones. You basically define your own version of winning.
It's like having a personal coach and your own cheerleader rolled into one.
Yeah.
Always pushing you, but
Right.
understanding your you-ness.
I love that. And the best part is this inward focus. It creates this awesome momentum for constant growth.
Consistent growth.
Yeah, not those overnight transformations we see all over the place, which, let's face it, are usually not sustainable.
Nope.
It's about those small but consistent actions day after day, like compound interest, but for personal growth.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of this friend who always wanted to write a novel but was so intimidated by it.
Right?
She committed to just one page every day, just one.
Every day.
And a year later, she had a full manuscript.
Wow.
Amazing what consistent little steps can achieve.
That's the power of it. It's not about being flashy. It's about that steady movement forward, no matter how tiny.
Okay, all this competing with myself sounds great, but let's be honest here. How do we do this in the age of social media?
Right. That's
It's like everyone else is on a permanent highlight reel,
It's true.
Makes it tough to stay focused on our own path.
You're absolutely right. It's something so many people struggle with. The digital age has just amplified this need for comparison.
Yeah.
So what can we do? Well, first, being really mindful of your social media time is key.
Key.
If you find yourself scrolling endlessly and those feelings of not enough creep in,
Oh, yeah.
maybe it's time for a break. Unfollow, hit that airplane mode, whatever helps to reclaim your mental space.
Makes sense. It's like hitting the reset button.
Exactly. You got to remind yourself what you see online is just a curated version of reality.
Totally agree. It's like who needs another perfectly filtered sunset anyway?
Right. Instead of just consuming mindlessly, try engaging more intentionally. Celebrate others' successes without letting it diminish your own.
So true. Love that comparison is a thief of joy. Gonna remember that one.
Steal that one. Because everyone's on their own path. You're right where you need to be.
Okay, so we've tamed the social media beast. We're ready to compete with ourselves. But how do we even start?
Well, I'd say one of the most powerful tools is setting goals.
Oh, I love goals.
But the trick is to be smart about the types of goals we set.
Interesting. Tell me more.
So there's a big difference between outcome goals and process goals.
Never thought of it like that.
Outcome goals are those focused on a specific result,
Yeah.
like losing weight, getting promotion, writing a book.
Okay, those are pretty standard.
Yeah, but process goals are all about the actions you take to get there.
Interesting. So instead of obsessing over the number on the scale,
Exactly.
it's about like working out consistently and eating healthy.
That's it. And the beauty of process goals is they shift your focus to what you can control, which is your actions, not some external thing like a number on a scale.
That makes sense.
And when you focus on those actions, you build momentum and start feeling accomplished, which keeps you going.
Totally. It's like saying, I want to run a marathon, but I'm not going to obsess over the 26 miles. I'm going to focus on lacing up my shoes and getting out the door today.
Perfect analogy. It's those little wins that fuel the bigger journey.
This is really clicking for me. It's like we're saying focus on the journey, not just the destination.
Yeah. And another benefit of process goals is they often lead to more lasting change because you're building habits, not just chasing a quick fix.
Habits. That's so important. It's like rewiring your brain for success one step at a time.
That's exactly it.
Love it. Speaking of habits, I'm a big believer in routines too for self-improvement.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like having a secret weapon, a set of autopilot behaviors even when you don't feel motivated.
Couldn't agree more. Routines and habits, they're the foundation of growth. They minimize decision fatigue, free up your time, and make sure you're consistently doing things that actually matter.
Think about it. How much easier is it to work out when it's just part of your morning?
So much easier.
Or how much more you get done when you have a dedicated workspace and time?
Yeah, it's all about structure. And like you said, minimizing decision fatigue is huge. When you have a routine, you free up so much mental energy for other things.
For the important stuff, right?
Yeah.
Remember when I started working from home, I had zero routine and it was chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't focus.
Yeah.
Always getting distracted. It was a mess.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I made a morning routine, set work hours, even scheduled breaks,
Yeah.
that I felt in control and got things done.
It's amazing how much of a difference that structure makes, especially when you don't have someone looking over your shoulder all the time.
Right. It's like those routines become your own internal accountability system.
Exactly.
But building new habits that can be tough.
Oh, it can be. It's like trying to break free from an old, well-worn path.
Yeah. But like anything, it gets easier with practice. It takes patience, persistence, and figuring out what works for you because there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Totally. I remember when I was trying to make meditation a habit, I tried everything. Morning, nighttime, lunch break,
Yeah.
but nothing stuck.
Yeah.
Then I realized meditating for just 5 minutes right after waking up.
Yeah.
That worked.
Yeah, you got to find that sweet spot, something you enjoy that fits your life and that you can actually stick with. It's not about forcing yourself into some rigid routine. It's about finding what supports you.
It's like finding the perfect pair of jeans. They fit just right and make you feel good.
I love that.
But before we get too lost in fashion analogies, I think it's time for part 2 of this deep dive.
I agree. We've covered so much ground already.
But there's so much more to explore, so stay tuned, folks.
We'll be back with even more insights to help you level up your self-competition game. Welcome back to our deep dive on cultivating that competitive spirit, but for self-improvement. We've already talked about, shifting the focus from others to ourselves, setting those SMART goals, building those solid routines.
It's been awesome.
But now let's dig into another really important piece that can seriously change your self-competition game.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
It's all about cultivating what we call internal validation.
Ooh, internal validation. I like the sound of that. But what does that actually look like, in real life?
It means recognizing your own worth and celebrating your wins no matter how big or small, and doing it all without needing someone else's praise or recognition.
Right.
It's about defining what success means to you based on your own values and what you want to achieve.
This is really hitting home for me. I used to be such a people pleaser, always looking for validation from everyone else.
Yeah, get it.
I'd be chasing likes on social media, worrying what people thought about my clothes, even stressing about party invites.
It's so easy to fall into that trap, especially these days where everyone's telling you that external validation is the same as being worthy.
Right. But the thing is, when you let outside factors determine your worth, you're basically giving your power away.
You got it. You're letting others decide your value.
And you can never please everyone anyway. There'll always be someone with a critique or a different opinion.
Exactly. So why not be your own biggest fan, right? Why not celebrate your own wins, acknowledge your progress, and give yourself credit for all your efforts, whether someone else notices or not?
Yeah, it's like being your own best friend and cheerleader rolled into one. But how do you actually make that shift, from seeking validation outside to finding it within?
It takes practice for sure, like building any new muscle. But one powerful way is through self-reflection. Take a few minutes each day to acknowledge your wins, even the small ones.
I like that.
Did you finally tackle that project you've been putting off? Celebrate that. Tried a new recipe, and it was amazing. High five yourself.
Love it. It's like giving yourself a little pep talk every day, reminding yourself how awesome you are.
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from what you haven't done to what you have accomplished. And it's not just about celebrating the big wins, it's about acknowledging the effort, too.
Right.
Did you drag yourself to the gym even though you were feeling blah? That deserves credit. Stuck to your budget when you wanted to splurge? That's a win, too.
This is so empowering. It's like you're taking control of your own story and deciding what success means for you.
You got it. And the best part is when you start practicing internal validation, you're free from that constant need for approval from everyone else.
So freeing.
Incredibly. It's like you're breaking free from those invisible chains holding you back. You're free to be you, to chase your goals with passion and on your own terms.
And that idea of defining your own version of success, ties in perfectly with another powerful concept that can really boost your self-competition journey,
Oh, yeah, with that.
embracing a growth mindset.
Love it. Now you're talking.
I've heard about this, but tell me more. How does it fit into this whole self-competition thing?
A growth mindset is basically believing that your talents and intelligence aren't set in stone. They can be developed through hard work, learning, and persistence.
All right.
It's about seeing challenges as opportunities to grow instead of threats to your ego.
So instead of saying, I'm terrible at math, it's more like I'm learning to get better at math.
Exactly. It's moving away from that fixed mindset where you think you're stuck with what you've got and embracing the idea that you can always learn and improve.
And I'm starting to see how this connects to self-competition. Because if you have that growth mindset, every challenge, every setback, every mistake becomes a chance to learn and get better and, in a way, beat your past self.
You nailed it. With a growth mindset, setbacks don't get you down as much because you see them as part of the process.
Makes sense.
You're more willing to take risks and step out of your comfort zone because you know that even if you don't succeed right away, you'll learn something valuable along the way.
It's like leveling up in a video game, gaining experience with every challenge you face.
Love that analogy. You're the hero on your own quest, constantly taking on new missions and unlocking new skills.
This makes me think about times I felt stuck, like I wasn't making any progress. And looking back, I was totally trapped in that fixed mindset. I was so scared of failing that I wasn't even trying new things or pushing myself.
It happens to the best of us. It's a tough trap to escape. But the great thing about a growth mindset is it's never too late to start building it.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we shift from fixed to growth?
Start by paying attention to how you talk to yourself. Notice when you're putting yourself down, focusing on your limits, or avoiding challenges. And then challenge those thoughts.
Okay.
Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it even true? Is there another way to look at this situation?
It's like becoming your own thought coach, gently guiding your mind towards a more positive and empowering outlook.
You got it. And another great way to cultivate that growth mindset is to surround yourself with people who inspire you and want to see you grow.
It's like assembling your dream team for your self-improvement journey.
Exactly. Find those mentors, friends, or colleagues who believe in you and encourage you to push your boundaries.
And on the flip side, distancing yourself from people who drain your energy or hold you back.
Absolutely. You get to choose who's in your inner circle.
Right. It's all about creating a positive and supportive environment where you can grow and thrive.
And in that environment, in that supportive space, that's where the magic of self-competition really shines. It's about setting those personal goals, pushing your limits, and celebrating every little win along the way. And guess what? Those little wins often lead to big changes.
I love that. And you know what else I love? We have one more part of this deep dive to go.
Oh, yeah, there's more.
We've covered so much ground already, mindset shifts, goal setting, our social circles, but I'm ready for some nitty-gritty practical tips and strategies. So stay tuned, folks, because in part 3, we're going to break down exactly how to put all this amazing insight into action.
Can't wait for that. Stay tuned, everyone.
All right, deep divers, welcome back. We are in the final stretch of our journey into this whole idea of using competition to help us grow.
Right.
And guess what? We're about to get super practical.
Time for action.
Getting down to those actionable tips you can start using today to seriously level up your growth game.
Love it. Because remember, knowledge is only really powerful when you put it to use.
So true. I'm already feeling pumped to take all this and make it happen. So where do we even begin?
Let's go back to that idea of setting goals for progress, not just achievement. Remember those process goals.
Okay, process goals, got it. But how do we actually make that happen in real life?
Right. Okay, here's a super simple exercise.
Okay.
Think about one area of your life where you really want to see some growth.
Okay.
Now, instead of focusing on a specific outcome, what are the daily or weekly actions you can take that will move you in that direction?
Ooh, I like this. It's like breaking down a big, scary goal into bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. So, for example, let's say you want to get in better shape. Your process goal could be to work out for 30 minutes 3 times a week.
Makes sense.
Or if you want to write that book you've been dreaming of,
Yes.
your process goal could be to write for an hour every morning.
Perfect examples.
Yeah.
And by focusing on the process, we're building consistency right. And that's key for long-term growth.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about another crucial element of this whole competing with yourself thing.
Okay.
Embracing that growth mindset we talked about earlier.
Yes. More on that, please. How can we really make that a part of our everyday lives?
One super powerful way is to reframe challenges as opportunities to learn. Instead of looking at setbacks as failures, See them as valuable feedback.
Like turning lemons into lemonade, right?
Exactly. When you hit a snag, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to do better next time?
I love that. It takes the sting out of failure and makes it a stepping stone.
That's the idea. Now, another tip that's super helpful is surrounding yourself with people who inspire you and support your growth.
Yes.
Your own personal cheer squad. I love it. Find those mentors, friends, colleagues, whoever they are, who truly believe in you and encourage you to push yourself.
And just as important, maybe even more so, is to distance yourself from people who drain your energy or hold you back.
100% agree. You get to choose who you let into your inner circle.
So important. Creating that positive environment where you can thrive.
And speaking of thriving, let's not forget about self-care.
Self-care. So crucial.
It's not selfish, it's essential. You got to make time for activities that recharge your batteries, nourish your mind, body, and spirit.
Absolutely.
Whether that's meditation, spending time outdoors, a favorite hobby, or just taking a break to chill. Make self-care a non-negotiable.
Like giving yourself permission to hit pause and come back even stronger.
Exactly. And remember, everyone's journey is different. There's no right or wrong way to do this.
No.
Experiment, find what works for you, and be patient with yourself.
So important. We're all on our own timelines, and that's okay. The key is to just keep moving forward, even if it's just baby steps.
You got it. And don't forget to celebrate your progress no matter how big or small. Give yourself credit for all the effort you're putting in.
Yes. Be your own biggest fan.
Because at the end of the day, the most rewarding competition is the one we have with ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one last thought-provoking question. What's one small step you can take today to start competing with yourself in a way that feels good and makes you excited about growing?
Could be setting a small process goal, reframing a challenge, practicing some self-compassion, or even just taking a few minutes for yourself.
Remember, every amazing journey starts with a single step. And by harnessing the power of self-competition, you can unlock a world of growth, fulfillment, and possibilities you never even imagined.
It's been an awesome journey exploring this with you all. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep competing with yourself to become the best version of you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Build Strong Habits.